And so now we're going to move on to marine animals and how nitrogen will affect them. So recent evidence suggests that arthropods can be affected in terms of secreting their reproductive hormones, and it can be affected by nitrogen. So let's have a look at it. Okay, so I have a quick drawing here of how exactly the secretion of these hormones is inhibited. Okay? So it's kind of the same idea as before when we looked at the terrestrial animals along with their hemoglobin. So here we have a normal enzyme that is involved in hormone secretion. So this normal enzyme, again, has an active site that a substrate will bind to. So in normal terms, when the proper substrate binds to the enzyme, creating this proper enzyme-substrate complex, reproductive hormones are secreted and the animal will do just fine. But in high nitrogen concentration, we see that inside the arthropods, this N is going to be oxidized into nitric oxide. So here we have this normal enzyme again, but this time we have NO being bound to this enzyme, creating an improper enzyme substrate complex. And so this inhibits the secretion of the hormones, and the animal is unable to reproduce and eventually maybe die. So now that we looked at the arthropods, let's move on and talk about how this can create algal blooms. Okay, so here's my drawing of a lake system here. And so we see in the middle of the lake there is this large algal bloom, or also known as eutrophication. So let's see how this affects the whole aquatic system here. So we know that with all the cyanobacteria and algae on top of the lake, less UV light is going to get absorbed by the photosynthetic plants that are at the bottom of the lake, because most of it is being taken in by this cyanobacteria or being reflected. So that's this part right here. And also, in cases of high nitrogen, there is also a low oxygen concentration in the water because this cyanobacteria, an algal bloom here, is taking in all of the oxygen, as well as microorganisms that are decomposing these dead cyanobacteria that have already died are also taking in most of the oxygen. So when this oxygen level decreases low enough, it can cause fish kills. So we see here this fish is dead, and so is this one, and a couple more here. So we see that our fish population is very, very low, with just 2 remaining. So that is also another serious issue with increased nitrogen in the aquatic system. And as well, cyanobacteria are very well known to create toxins that are extremely harmful, especially to mammals. So here we see that it's secreting toxins over here and some over here and everything. And so say a human was to come, or a cow or some kind of livestock was to come and drink this water, they could get seriously ill from the toxins that are within this aquatic system. So again, there are lots of problems involved in high nitrogen concentrations. And here these are just some descriptions of different types of toxins that are produced by certain types of cyanobacteria, and where exactly they are effect in the mammals, where they take effect in the mammals. So microcystins they target the liver in mammals, and these kind of cyanobacteria secrete them, just for extra information.